Jake Paul got problems right here, you know. So, I mean, he's doing good for what he's doing, you know. Like I said, for what he's doing. It is what it is. It's just a lot of talk.
Floyd Mayweather, the undefeated legend of boxing, just leaked his most jaw-dropping prediction for the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight. Trust me, he didn't just randomly pick a winner. With over 20 years of experience breaking jaws and dodging punches, Mayweather speaks from a place of hard-earned wisdom. When he talks, you know it's serious. This prediction isn't just for fun. It's a testament to his deep understanding of the sport.
You know, when I'm betting on real fighters.
Yeah.
Not saying that they're not real fighters. They're novice. They're novice professional fighters. But when I'm betting on fights, I'm betting on fights that's...
His analysis comes packed with cold, hard reasons. And let's be real, Floyd's not exactly known for sugarcoating. It's not looking good for Jake, but don't just take my word for it. Floyd's prediction comes with all the receipts you could want. How can Floyd Mayweather be so sure about this? Brace yourself, because the leaked footage tells a story that's almost too wild to believe. Picture Mike Tyson, the same guy who steamrolled opponents with pure aggression, now training with deadly calm precision under Mayweather's watchful eye. This fight is going to be something else.
It's different when you're at the highest level. And Roy Jones can contest to that. Clarissa and so many other fighters. You know, once you get in there with a real fighter that can really fight.
It's not just Iron Mike flinging haymakers like in a 90s highlight reel. This time, Tyson was a whole different beast, clearly taking notes from the defensive genius himself, Mayweather. Mayweather wasn't just standing around for fun. He was teaching Tyson the art of controlled destruction. We're talking about Mike pacing himself, calculating his footwork, and moving with a purpose so strategic it would make a chess grandmaster jealous. Tyson wasn't just swinging for the fences. He was biding his time, landing hits with a scary sort of surgical precision, and weaving around the ring like someone who actually wants to survive the later rounds.
It's gonna be over. Right. So he got to be able to enjoy it while he can. Is he doing good? Absolutely. For who he's fighting, guys 50, guys 40. Of course. Do he want to fight me? Of course. I'm almost 50 years old, so of course he want to fight.
And here's the thing. When Jake Paul got wind of this footage, his bravado cracked like an overripe avocado. Sources claim he looked more rattled than a leaf in a hurricane. The guy's used to trash-talking his way into fights, banking on the idea that Tyson would be some washed-up relic from the past. But this was no nostalgic Mike Tyson. This was a Mayweather-enhanced, defense-ready Mike Tyson. Let's be real, Paul's not exactly the second coming of Muhammad Ali, so seeing Tyson suddenly become disciplined and strategic must have been a soul-crushing reality check.
Well, I commend Tyson because he's one of the guys that paved the way for me to be where I'm at. You know, he's a legendary champion. And the only thing I have to say about Mike Tyson is everyone is always trying to judge Mike Tyson.
Then comes Mayweather's jaw-dropping prediction. He straight up said that if Tyson can pace himself and fully embrace these new defensive techniques, Jake Paul is basically toast. Floyd doesn't make claims like that lightly. He's one of the best boxing brains out there. But it begs the question, can Jake Paul's youth and cardio save him, or is he about to become the latest victim of Tyson's newfound, terrifyingly calculated violence?
You know, he was terrifying as a boxer.
Yeah.
Terrifying, you know. Even when I met him at one point back, you know, backstage at the stadium at a fight, and I was like, I'm still terrified of you from watching you, you know. But then that guy he started becoming, where he became more explorative and he was looking into what, you know, the meaning of life and, you know, having a smoke every now and then and stuff like that, you know. I was like, I'm enjoying this, Mike.
Yeah.
You know, I'm liking the evolution.
Now, if you thought Tyson's training was just intense and technical, buckle up because it gets even more outrageous. The man is out there leaning into some of the most bizarre, almost hallucinatory workout methods you could imagine. He's not pounding protein shakes or meditating with crystals. He's using psilocybin mushrooms and cannabis to fuel his workouts. Tyson openly talks about how he uses mushrooms to feel, in his own words, beautiful while training, claiming it gives him an otherworldly mental and physical boost. Picture the reality of Iron Mike, an already frightening presence, getting even more charged up with a little psychedelic kick to the brain.
He looks the best shape and the strongest he's ever been is what his coaches are saying. And so I know on November 15th it's going to be a war, but I just plan on outboxing him and showing the world what I'm capable of and coming alive in the moment and knocking out one of the best to ever do it.
This isn't just a quirky side note. Tyson has fought lifelong battles with addiction and describes himself as a junkie, someone who needs an edge, a high, something to latch onto. Instead of letting his demons destroy him, he's harnessed this need and transformed it into something almost spiritual. It's both raw and unnerving. The idea that he's using these substances not to escape reality, but to sharpen his focus and push his body beyond its limits. Is it genius? Is it insanity? Or maybe it's a terrifying blend of both.
That's it. Keep it on. What a shot. Oh, yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, look where your left hook is when you finish, Mike.
So here we are, left wondering if these psychedelic-infused training sessions give Tyson a legitimate advantage or set him up for disaster. It's a risky game, no question, and one that might come crashing down under the bright lights of a real fight. Yet Tyson is betting on it hard. He's not just showing up to wave to the crowd. He's bringing a whole new, unpredictable version of himself to the ring. Honestly, that could be the wild card that turns this fight into an unforgettable, jaw-dropping event.
58-year-old men are 58-year-old men, no matter what they look like. Right. And Jake Paul is a 28-year-old athlete in the prime of his life.
Yeah.
You know, it was a real.
I mean, if you just do it to yourself, right? Take
Yeah.
You know, me at 60 versus me at 28.
The numbers don't lie, and in the circus that is Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, stats are more brutally honest than any trash talk. Jake Paul, the YouTuber turned boxer, loves reminding the world how hard he punches, averaging 34.7 punches per round. Sounds decent, right? But when you stack that up against Tyson's latest performance, only 24.1 punches per round in that slow-paced exhibition match against Roy Jones Jr. in 2020, it's almost embarrassing. Let's face it, Tyson's output has plummeted from the hurricane force it used to be to something more like a gentle breeze. And let's not even start on his conditioning, which left more questions than a bad math exam.
It's different when you're at the highest level. And Roy Jones can contest to that. Clarissa and so many other fighters. You know, once you get in there with a real fighter that can really fight.
Let's not kid ourselves. Tyson's power still belongs in the annals of boxing horror stories. Even at 58, he's got knockout power that could send someone into next week. But here's the kicker. Power means nothing if you're gasping for air or too slow to connect. Tyson's sparring clutch show he can still throw a killer hook, sure, but maintaining that intensity for 8 rounds, that's the million-dollar question. Especially when you consider Jake Paul's relentless activity, throwing 34.7 punches per round. It might not sound earth-shattering, but against a much older Tyson, it could be the difference between wearing him down and getting worn out.
The strongest I've ever seen you.
Yeah?
Yeah, the strongest I've ever, and I know you since you're 13. I think this impressed the shit out of me. Nothing impresses me. You know, I'm gonna tell you the truth, I don't lie.
Enter Richard Steele, the Hall of Fame referee who's officiated more brutal boxing wars than he likely cares to remember. Steele's been sounding the alarm, warning that those 14-ounce gloves might look cushioned, but they're not enough to protect Jake Paul from a full-force Tyson haymaker. Sure, they'll soften the sting of a jab, but a Tyson uppercut? Forget it. Steele isn't joking when he talks about the real danger here, even expressing concern about his own safety. Being too close to the action in this fight could turn into a real-life game of dodgeball, except the ball is a Tyson punch, and dodging it is no easy task. Now let's talk about the 14-ounce gloves and the 2-minute rounds, which add a whole new layer of intrigue. 2-minute rounds might sound short, but for Tyson, it's a blessing. It's like giving a sprinter a shorter race. More explosive, less tiring. Tyson's team must be thanking their lucky stars because this format allows him to go all out without the risk of gassing out too early. Every round will feel like a sprint, and Tyson only needs a few clean shots to send Jake Paul into another dimension. No wonder Steele's warning sounds so urgent. The risk factor is sky high, And if Tyson manages his energy right, those 2-minute bursts could be a nightmare for Paul. But let's not ignore the controversy. Are these rules rigged to give Tyson a shot at glory one more time? Jake Paul's stamina and work rate could dominate in a standard 3-minute round, but with less time per round, he'll need to adjust fast.
He has bad knees, if his back's bad. I mean, I don't know what's going on with him physically. It's hard to tell from a guy just hitting pads. When he's hitting those pads, he looks great.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, if he can do that, if he can actually do that for 8 rounds or 10 rounds, however long this fight is.
Well, that's going to be the key, isn't it?
Can he do that? I don't know if he can do that. I mean, he had to pull out of the first fight because he had an ulcer.
Right.
So it's, you know.
The thing is, I was quite enjoying the second phase of Mike's life. You know what I mean?
The gloves, the rounds, the entire setup. It's a strategic minefield. And if Tyson's power connects early, Paul's endurance won't even matter. This fight feels like a high-stakes chess game where every piece has been carefully placed to make things as unpredictable as possible. Tyson's camp seems thrilled with the conditions, and who can blame them? The man still has knockout power in spades, and with these rules, he might just pull off a miracle. Meanwhile, Jake Paul is working overtime, refining his defense, amping up his cardio, and preparing for whatever Tyson throws his way. This matchup is far more complex than it appears, an explosive cocktail of youth versus experience, speed versus power, and calculated risks from both sides. And with Richard Steele's grim warnings echoing in the background, one thing's certain: this fight is shaping up to be a drama-filled, explosive spectacle.